Hey guys, welcome back, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over my top 10 tight ends for the 2026 NFL Draft. Now, quick disclaimer, these are my preseason rankings. They are subject to change at any point throughout the season, but I'm still going to give you guys my early favorites on guys that I really like in this class. If you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. We have done every single position group thus far. Our last one will be coming next week, so be sure to stay tuned for that. We'll have our final position rankings. Then I will give you guys my top 100 prospects in the draft class. I'll be going over my way too early mock draft. And then college football is here where we'll have weekly mock drafts. We'll continue our prospect spotlights each and every week. And we're going to be doing more of a weekly stock report of players that are improving or hurting their draft stock every week. So excited to get into that, but let's go ahead and kick this video off with my number 10 tight end, and that is going to be Luke Hasz, the transfer from Arkansas to Ole Miss. Now, it does look like he has a fractured ankle and has a it looks like there's a chance he's going to miss all of 2025. So if that's the case, he probably doesn't come out of next year's draft class. And injuries have kind of been the story of his career. He's dealt with a few injuries throughout his collegiate career, but when he's been on the field, I really like what he brings. He is a really versatile 6'3", 240-pound tight end that played a lot in a wing formation for Arkansas, but he really lined up everywhere. He played on line, played in the slot, played in the backfield at times, and he is a pretty nice run blocker. I thought he did a good job of connecting, brings power, and was consistently opening up running lanes for an Arkansas team that ran the football a lot last year. He has decent build-up speed. I wouldn't say that he's very twitchy or very explosive or quick, but if he's running in a straight line, I think he picks up speed pretty well, and he can challenge it vertically. He's got really soft hands. There's some things I really like about his game, and I'm excited to see what he looks like in Lane Kiffin's offense, an offense that does like to challenge the field vertically, and they like to utilize the wide hashes. I do think there's a role for Luke Hasz to be one of the better tight ends in the class, but the health is concerning to me. He's an early my guy, but if he can't play and he doesn't come out of this year, I wouldn't be that surprised at all. So I've got him coming in at number 10. At number 9, I've got John Michael Gillenborg, the tight end, and you can't even see the name here. The tight end out of Wyoming. A really interesting player that reminds me a lot of Dalton Kincaid. He's 6'5", 250 pounds. Graded out pretty well per PFF last year. He is just a really good receiving tight end. That's what he is. He's got a big catch radius, utilizes his hands really well. I thought he did a great job of high pointing the football, locating the ball in the air, just going up and go get it. He isn't just a great receiver, though. He's a good athlete. He's a guy that I think can play in the slot for you, and that's where he did a lot of his damage for Wyoming. He's really explosive. I think he gets in and out of breaks really quickly, and he showed the ability to make some pretty tough catches at times. I do think he could bulk up a little bit. He does look pretty thin for the position. The two areas that I really worry about with him, though, is he was almost a liability as a blocker. He just could not block as a run blocker, so much so that one scouting report that I saw called him a useless run blocker. I don't know if I'd be that harsh, but yeah, he just doesn't bring much to the table as a run blocker whatsoever. And on top of that, I don't think he's great after the catch. He's just not very explosive, doesn't hit cutback lanes or have a lot of athleticism to make these great plays, which is weird because he is quick and he's twitchy. So definitely something to monitor with him. Obviously coming from the Mountain West on a bad Wyoming team, he got a lot of the targets in that offense, but I do like what he can bring to the table. I think he's an early day 3 caliber guy as of right now, though. At number 8, I've got Eli Raridon out of Notre Dame. Notre Dame consistently seems to be producing these tight ends. You had Michael Mayer, you had Mitchell Evans. Now Eli Raridon seems to be, Cole Kmet was in there as well. Eli Raridon, I think, is the next guy in this. Didn't play much. I think he played under 400 snaps last year for Notre Dame, and that is something I want to see. His usage was very limited. You just don't get to see a whole lot, but I love his frame. He's 6'7", 250 pounds. He's big, he's strong, he's powerful. That I thought he was one of the better blocking tight ends that I watched in this draft class. He did a great job of connecting, made big plays, opened up rushing lanes, can play a little bit of everywhere. He played in the slot for this team, but he did a lot of his damage attached to the line of scrimmage on the offensive line and did a good job of getting out in space, being a lead blocker. I thought he was really good in that phase. On top of that, I do think that he is a good athlete. He showed explosiveness. He showed burst. He showed the ability to settle in soft spots, the zones, had really soft hands when he was targeted. So there's a lot of different things that you start to see and you're like, okay, like if this guy can get it all together, like there is a path for him to being a really good tight end prospect. Obviously the limited usage, and I think he has to improve his route tree. He was running a lot of quick dump-off screens, maybe like a 10-yard hook. Like there weren't a lot of like high-end route running things that we saw from him. And I do think he can impact the game as a receiver. So I do think Notre Dame's scheme is going to be a little bit more favorable to pass catchers this season. I'm very curious to see how they use Raridon, because I do think if he gets the right targets, he's got the potential to be a really good tight end. And a guy that could sneak into day 2 of the draft. So I've got him as my number 8 tight end, but definitely a player I've got my eyes on for this college football season. At number 7, I've got Terrence Carter, now of Texas Tech, formerly of Louisiana. This dude is awesome. I know we talked about Gillenborg being not a great blocker, and so we'll get that out of the way really quickly. Yes, Terrence Carter is not a great blocker. He needs a lot more improvement in that phase. But if you want a pass-catching tight end, there might not be a better one than Terrence Carter. An incredible athlete. I thought that he was one of the best route runners and pure like change of direction guys in this draft class. A guy that played in the slot, showed good burst. The change of direction and the ability to get out of routes was really impressive. His feet were really quick. I loved that about him. I loved the versatility. Another guy that I think could line up everywhere. I mean, he played wide receiver snaps last year for Texas Tech. He's also got really reliable hands. I think he only had 2 drops on the year. Was a guy that was heavily utilized for this Louisiana offense. The big thing is going to be, what weight does he play at? Because this is a player that last season for Louisiana, he played at around 230 pounds. It's pretty undersized for a modern day tight end. You usually want to be in that 240 to 260 range. Now, early reports are that he is bulked up to 245. And if that's the case, I think you feel really confident. But I do think that him playing at a smaller weight did hurt him. He doesn't play as physical as you would want to see. Not an amazing blocker. He's not a super incredible contested catch weapon. So you want to see a little bit more refinement there, but it's a guy that I think has all the traits. He's a really good athlete. Reminds me a lot of a Harold Fannin Jr. from last year's class. And a guy that's just, he might not be a great blocker, but this is a guy that is consistently open, consistently separating, and he might be an even better athlete than Harold Fannin was. So I've got Terrence Carter coming in at number 7. At number 6, I've got Max Clare now of Ohio State, formerly of Purdue. Really good overall tight end. Really great athlete, a route runner that knew how to consistently get open. He was a really good separator. And I thought that when he was really like one of these really smart tight ends that like, I'm not going to say he's Travis Kelce, but the thing that makes Travis Kelce so special is when protection breaks down for Mahomes, he knows where to be. He knows the soft spots of the zones to get into to make himself available for the quarterback. That's what Max Clare did last year for Purdue. When protection broke down, and it broke down a lot, he knew where to go. He was constantly moving, trying to get open, trying to find the soft spots. That's the type of stuff that you want to see. He's a really good, versatile weapon, and a very similar player to Terrence Carter in the fact that he's a little bit smaller for the position and not an amazing blocker. He played at around 240 last year, which is not bad. Would like to see him get a little bit stronger at Ohio State now. But I also worry about what his outlook looks like for the Buckeyes, because this is a guy that, yes, he was great for Purdue. Ohio State doesn't use their tight ends very much. So we'll see what he looks like, but it's a guy that I think is a really good dynamic weapon. He's quick, he's athletic, a good route runner, can do a little bit of everything for you. So I'm a big fan of Max Clare, and I've got him at number 6. At number 5, I've got Tanner Kosil, now of Houston. Really weird recruiting journey for this guy. Was at Ball State. In the winter portal, he committed to Wisconsin, decommitted from Wisconsin, and then committed to Houston in the spring portal. Houston got maybe the best tight end in the country right now, at least last year in returning production. There's one guy that I have my eyes on that's not who you guys think. But Kosil's a really good athlete. He is dynamic as a route runner. The ability to combine double moves, the change of direction, the shiftiness, it's all there. He's got a big frame for the position at 6'7", 240 pounds, and he's a natural hands catcher. He doesn't use his body. He high points the ball. He does a good job of locating it in the air, and I love that about him. The only thing that I wanted to see is more consistency as a blocker. He's not a bad blocker in any stretch of the imagination. He's an okay blocker. He's not a great one, though, and that does concern me a little bit. I wanted to see a little bit more power, see him hit with a little bit more consistency. There were some overextensions, and he's coming from the MAC, which is not necessarily a great conference. He's going to the Big 12 now. He's going to have Connor Wigman. I think he's the number one weapon on this Houston team, and he's got a chance to be in the running for some big-time awards. I really do think that. I really like what he can be. I've got him as my number, where do I have him? My number 5 tight end in this class. At number 4, I have Eli Sters at Vanderbilt. And I know people are immediately rushing to the comments to say that I'm way too low on Eli Sters. I live in the Nashville area, so I have gotten to see Eli Sters very up close. I just don't know that I see an NFL tight end at the next level. Do I think he is a bad player? No, I have a second to a third round grade on him. But there are just some areas of his game that I just don't love. For one, he's 6'4", 235. He's undersized for the position. I know he's still kind of learning the tight end position, which that's great. But he's still a bit small. He's not a great separator. He might be a good athlete, especially after the catch. I think he's really dynamic in that phase. I just don't think he is a great separator. He's not very quick. He doesn't get out of breaks as well as you'd like to see. So that does concern me. He's also not a great blocker. So when you factor in that he's not a great separator, he's undersized, and he can't block that well, I'm a little bit lower on him. Let's talk about the things that he does do well. He is a really good athlete. They used him a lot in motion, and with the ball in his hands, he's really explosive. He's got versatility. He's got a really explosive first step and some nice quickness, some nice, I like that about his game. There's a lot of quickness, a lot of shiftiness. This is a guy that I believe is a former quarterback. He's converting to tight end and had a really productive year for Vanderbilt. So I don't want to sell him short on that. But do I view him as a number 1 tight end? Do I view him as even close to a first-round prospect? I don't. I just don't really see the hype. I think there's some better, more versatile, more well-rounded tight ends in this class that aren't getting the love that Eli Sters is. So I've got him at number 4. At number 3, I've got Joe Royer out of Cincinnati, and a guy that I really think has the upside of being the number 1 tight end in this draft class. The other 2 guys, I think I'm betting a little bit more on athletic traits, but Royer's the complete opposite of those guys. A guy that is great at everything, I feel like, but he is not a great athlete. He is a really solid receiver, soft hands, a guy that was a pretty smooth route runner. He wasn't like an elite, super high twitchy, but he could make plays. He was a good zone beater, really smart player there, played a lot in like a wing formation as well, made some nice plays. Really versatile for Cincinnati. Was one of the more productive tight ends in college football last year. If you want him to play as a blocker, in line, if you want him to play in the slot, in the wing, like he can do a little bit of everything for you that you feel really confident in. Soft hands, the ability to challenge vertically, which I think is pretty good. He's another guy that has that build-up speed. I don't think he's this really quick twitch athlete or anything like that, but he does build up nice speed as he goes. Very similar to what we talked about with Luke Haas at the beginning of this video. So I love that about him. On top of that, I really do like what he can do as a run blocker. I think he's a good run blocker. I don't think he's great, but I think he's good. And he made some nice plays opening up running lanes, which I feel pretty confident in. I like this guy a lot. And I think he's a second-round talent. We've seen what happens when Cincinnati tight ends get to the NFL. Travis Kelce is a future Hall of Famer. So, yeah, I've got Joe Royer at number 3 and a guy that I really like going into this college football season. At number 2, I've got Jack Injuries, formerly of Cal, now at Texas. He is my pick to win the National Tight End Award. I don't know why I'm blanking on it. I don't think it's the Davey O'Brien. That's a quarterback award, but you guys will correct me in the comments. But I did pick Jack Injuries to win that award. A guy that I liked what we saw from him at Cal last year. A really good, versatile tight end that did everything for you. Played everywhere, out wide, in the slot, in line, in the backfield. I mean, you named it. This guy was doing it for the California offense last year. He's a great blocker. He is always seemed to connect at the second level, and that's kind of what Cal did. They loved to run the football last year. Their offensive line was really bad, but Jack Injuries showed the ability to be a good run blocker. So I really liked that about him. He is a pretty solid receiver as well. He's got soft hands, a guy that can run routes pretty well, I thought. He's hard to bring down after the catch. He's slippery. He's got a good frame at 6'4", 240. I love that about him. I mean, there's so many little things I loved. He isn't the most twitchy route runner in the world. The routes are a little bit more rounded off. They're not necessarily like a quick out, which I'd like to see him get a little bit better at. And I did think he disengaged too early at times as a blocker. Wanted to see him like hold at the point of attack a little bit better. We just didn't see that, but he's one of my guys. When I did my Texas deep dive, I watched his tape when he committed and was blown away. This is a guy that I'm all in on for this upcoming college football season. But my number 1 tight end is Kenyan Sadi at Oregon. One of the more rare athletes you are going to find. Excellent as an after-the-catch player. I mean, he had some hurdles last year. A guy that has everything that you want athletically in terms of build-up speed and quickness and twitch. It's all there. Still a bit raw, though. A guy that I think has to really figure out the nuances of being a route runner. Got a lot of manufactured touches, screens, dump-offs, easy stuff like that, where he made some production after the catch, which is great. But I don't know if that production is real, if that makes sense. I think we're going to have to see him take another step as a route runner. We just haven't seen him do up to this point. He had very limited production as a receiver last year as a result, but the traits are there, and he's also an elite blocker. I mean, incredibly powerful in the run game. This is the type of guy that I want to bet on the traits on, because the moments that he had as a receiver, that was like, oh my gosh, this guy is unreal. But his blocking is just next level. So powerful, just so consistent. The grip strength is fantastic. I mean, I loved his blocking snaps. This is another guy that I did my Oregon deep dive and was blown away. No Terrence Ferguson there this year, but I think they've got a really good tight end, and Kenyan Sadi is my number 1 guy. But let's take a closer look at a couple of honorable mentions. Few guys that I know people are going to be asking about. Justin Jolie is my number 12 tight end. I just don't love the size. I know he's up to 251 now, so we'll see. But was a pretty horrible blocker each of the last 2 years and has had some drop concerns throughout his career. So I have him at number 12. I've got Jack Velling at number 11. Very similar to Luke Haas. Just not a great athlete, but does a little bit of everything for you as a receiver. Good zone beater. Nice overall, blocking type tight end. If I'm betting on one guy to take a jump and be talked about in this range, I really liked Brett Norfleet at Missouri. I've got him at number 15. Good size, good blocking. Maybe not a great athlete or receiver, but I do think the potential is there. And then RJ Maryland, coming off an injury, very similar to a Justin Jolie type, but a guy with good athletic traits, the ability to challenge the field vertically. I do like his game quite a bit. But that's going to do it for me in this video, guys. Let me know who are your top 10 tight ends. Who do you think should have been in my list that wasn't? Leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you are new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.